How's it going, guys? And welcome to your Smackdown review. So I don't have to talk about Raw for this review because I've already reviewed Raw. And if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Now, I noticed the Raw review actually got more views, and I'm not sure if that's because people are not used to me reviewing Raw anymore because it's been a very long time. The last Raw review, I think, was late December, early January, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there. But anyway, if you haven't checked it out, go take a look at it. Like I said, the next Raw review will probably be when they go to the live crowd, so it's not too far off. It's like a month away, pretty much. As I said, there's going to be a Hell in a Cell review. As far as game reviews, I had already mentioned in a comment, but I have my new Pokemon Snap review, which I put up. That's going to be my last video game retrospective that's non-wrestling in a while because I've got a lot of wrestling game reviews lined up. I have a lot of games that I've actually bought that I've started playing in my spare time that I missed or did not play as a kid or as a teenager or as an adult or any point in my life. So I am going to be reviewing those in retrospectives, and I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm already starting on one, already got the footage for one game. You'll see what game that is when it comes out, of course. So there you go. So for the people that don't enjoy like the non-wrestling content, and the people who do like video games and wrestling will probably like that. And if you don't already know, I already have a WWE 13 and WWE 2K14 retrospective here on this channel. I think they're pretty good retrospectives. So if you haven't seen them, go check them out. I actually have the WWE 13 video set up as like one of my featured videos, so like when you come to the channel, you should see the video right away, actually. Which is something I do encourage you to do here on this channel because, notifications seem all over the place. Some videos, like I said, they get a decent amount of views. Some don't get as many views. And, this is what everyone's like all confused here on YouTube. So I really encourage everybody, just come to the channel. It's probably the most simple thing. Just, you'll see, you come on YouTube, you see the Brad Rules, click on it, you'll see some new videos. If you haven't seen anything from me, like in a week, there's something very wrong with your feed. Because I have not missed a week in God knows how long here on YouTube. It's been like years since that's happened. So, yeah, if you see a week with no Brad, and you want to see Brad, come to the channel because that means that YouTube is fucking something up in your feed, okay? So I just want to get that out there. I feel like it's important that we talk about it because I don't get enough like into the channel and like what you need to do in order to see these videos if you're not seeing them already. So anyway, let's talk about SmackDown here. And there's a few things I have to say. I noticed the promos were better this week. They always feature, quite a bit of Roman, but there was a bit more of it. There was a bit more character development, if you want to call it. I mean, I would say so. And the other thing, does it need to even be said? Because it's probably going to be the thumbnail, folks. I mean, that was the one thing. When I saw this, I was like, oh, come on. I'm watching the clips. I'm watching all the clips, and I'm like, oh, all right, there's some pretty decent stuff. These are some good promos with Jimmy and Jay and Roman, and I'm enjoying it, and they're obviously, like, some of the best people on the roster. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit better than last week. I feel like we're getting somewhere here. They announced Rey Mysterio and Roman for Hell in a Cell, which is a match I asked for last week, which I wasn't quite sure if they were going to actually do that match. And I'm happy that they are, because I think we're almost guaranteed a good match there. I think you've got two really good wrestlers there. Two actually legitimate stars. And I have to say, really, out of all the challengers so far, besides Jay, this is probably his best challenger. Besides WrestleMania, obviously, because that was Edge and Mysterio, but like Cesaro, Kevin Owens, you bring in Rey Mysterio, and I've been saying this, I don't get it. If we're going to have wrestlers at a disadvantage against Roman, then do Rey, do Jeff Hardy. What is Jeff even doing on Raw when he could be here wrestling Roman? It could be like, if you're gonna have the the smaller high flying guys, and actually the thing is, Jeff Hardy is not even really a small guy compared to some of these other ones. Anyway, but besides that, I think we're getting a legitimate match that actually feels like it's a world title match. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. And I feel like it's a good pay-per-view to come back on. I took a break with Backlash. I did review the zombie match, and that was it. And I think that was really the only thing worth talking about. We all knew that Roman was going to retain against Cesaro. That goes without saying. But anyway, let's get into this. So we start off with a Jimmy Uso promo. And, it's good. He talks about the, nothing mind-blowing here. To be quite honest, I'm just going to say, if I'm watching this on Fox and I'm seeing Jimmy talk, this is not really, getting my attention. I mean, you are seeing Roman backstage, the real star, but he's just kind of looking over at Jay, and the facial expressions on Roman, I mean, this is something where you can clearly see that the guy got acting lessons, because he shows so much personality in just his face. I was really looking at him this time, because it was a very promo heavy show, which I'm saying this is why it was a little bit better. It seemed like they focused, instead of having big ass long matches, it was more about the characters. And even though they haven't really developed these characters, there was an attempt there to get some tension going between these guys. And I don't think really that Jimmy Uso was the best person to put up front, but Jimmy has an attitude. You compare Jimmy to a lot of other people on the roster, and he definitely comes out looking a lot stronger than you look at someone like we're going to talk about, Chad Gable. Or, the ha-ha-hee-hee crew, which we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about those clowns in a minute. The clown crew, as we'll most likely refer to them, or the goof squad. I can't wait to talk about that. So, we get this promo, and, it's okay, but like I said, if I'm just the regular viewer on TV, this promo is not really doing it for me. You're talking about the match, you're talking about Roman, but this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm very reserved, and I'm saying, it was good, but it wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? And you might be saying, well, what the fuck are you talking about, Brad? Was it a good promo or not? It wasn't bad, but it wasn't attention-getting. It wasn't something that's going to get people to watch. Jimmy Uso cutting this promo, what are we really getting from this? Why is a viewer going to stay tuned after seeing a promo like this? I'm just saying, I sat back and thought, well, that was good, There was good presentation shown there. He handled himself well. I like the way they were cutting back to see the reactions of Jay and, and Roman. You can visibly see Jay. Jay also, does a good job of showing on his face that he's uncomfortable. So it was decent enough. But if we're talking about, is this going to get people to watch? Is this the character development of yesteryear? No, it's not. But I guess it's a start, Coming from these writers and creative, And I think there's definitely more influence. They have said that Reigns has more creative control, and I guess that extends to his family as well, because this is a little bit too good. You know, we see people cutting tables in half with swords on Raw, so I think you could clearly see the comparison there. But was it as good as MVP and Kofi on Raw? Actually, no. So that's what I'm saying. There's a little bit of give and take there. So we have Jay and Jimmy backstage, and Jimmy is trying to say to Jay, about the tag titles last week. Did he think that they had a chance? Did he really want to win the titles? And he tells Jay to tell Roman if he wants to see him or have a talk with him, he could come into his locker room. Then we have and this is like really weird what I noticed also, because I was looking at, even though I was watching the clips, I was watching it in order. So you had Owens coming out before this took place backstage with Jimmy and Jay. So Owens is literally standing in the ring like a dingus. But the thing is, at least there's no crowd there. But like, he's just standing out there while they're shooting this. Unless that was a pre-tape, I'm going to guess that that's what it is. But that's what they used to do on Raw and SmackDown when they had live crowds. So who the hell knows? But this is something, if they're going to go back to the live crowd, they got to stop doing this, because it looks very goofy. You have these guys talking for 3 whole minutes backstage, and then we're supposed to believe that Owens is just out there, scratching his testicles. I mean, what's going on in the ring? What is he doing? We're not even seeing him. I guess in 3 minutes, Kevin Owens could probably put down maybe 3 cheeseburgers, a shake, maybe some fries, you know what I mean? If he's feeling really hungry, I suppose. So we have this tag match. It's Owens and Big E defeating Apollo Crews and Sami Zayn. And I'm already getting sick of these 4. And there's a lot of praise for Apollo Crews. And, the guy's not a bad wrestler. I guess he's doing a decent enough decent enough job with the Nigerian gimmick. But I still just can't get past this, that for so many years, we knew Apollo Crews as just the plain guy. And, like, did he need to have an accent to get over? Is that how desperate we are to get someone over? Oh, you got to do an accent, Apollo. But I've been in the company for 5 years and I've never talked with an accent. Well, we can't think of anything else. So this is the best thing we could. I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, all of a sudden, just pop up with an accent. It was goofy enough when Kofi lost his accent, but we've seen that before. Gimmicks come and go. We've seen this from time to time, but like, it's just silly. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Albert being Tensai. We've known Albert and A-Train for so long, and A-Train has been in WrestleMania matches, and then all of a sudden he appears as a Japanese wrestler. Or, and no one was buying it. So it's the same thing here. Not a bad talent, but a guy that's just like, I'm not buying it, and some people are. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be a sheep and just be like, oh, well, this is good. Sorry, but, like, I believe in continuity. There's suspension of disbelief, but I am not going to turn my brain off 100%, to a guy who's doing a full-blown accent, and they're going full-on, with Commander Aziz and everything, and that guy's not even Nigerian, I've even said. So, it's over with a stunner. We've got Owens pinning Zayn, and then Zayn gets mad at Apollo Crews. Apollo blames everything on Zayn. So Aziz is going to be his tag partner next week. So we're going to have the same exact match next week. We're just swapping out Zayn for Commander Aziz. I'm sure everyone's looking forward to that. Can't wait to see basically the same match so I could see Aziz get in there for a single minute. So he hits the Nigerian nail onto Sami Zayn. You know, and this is the thing also, what needs to be said. If anyone who's also a fan of Vince Russo's podcast, heard this, I believe it was Stevie Richards or Bin Hameen who said it. But Aziz is doing the Nigerian nail, which is the Samoan spike. I think we all know that, right? You know, Umaga made this move famous. And in essence, it kind of seems silly. I remember the first time that I saw it, I thought the move was a little silly, you know, when Umaga did it. But then, you know, you really saw the guy as a savage, you know, and then they explain he's putting it in the carotid artery. And, you know, we were just like, okay, that was one of the things where we're like, all right, you know, we'll accept this. But the thing is the presentation. Before Umaga did it, he'd grab the person by the back of their head and go, ah, and then slam it. Here you got this guy is just doing it outright. You know, he's not even like slamming Zayn down, setting him up. No, he's just doing one of these quick little jabs. And it makes the move just look fake. Like just a really quick thumb strike, and then that's it. And then Zayn just falls down like he's been hit by a truck. But for some reason, when Umaga did it, he presented it to us as believable. So this fake-ass wrestling move actually looked pretty destructive. And we actually bought when, like, John Cena would be hit by it, like, oh, man, Cena got hit by the spike. But when Aziz does it, we're like, that looks fake. You see what I mean? Look how these old veterans, you know, how much better they were. These guys don't know anything about, like, the presentation, and it really shows. You know, they want to take these old moves and use them, but you're not doing them well. We've got Chad Gable and the Street Goofs backstage, and this just seemed like it went on forever. Like, this is one of these little promos where, like, nothing is being set. We have a match being set up, but it's like you couldn't make this any less interesting if you tried. Just, you know, I will say this, like I said, Gable's an Olympian. The guy's in great shape. You know, he's a small guy, which kind of hurts him, and the Shorty G stuff didn't help either. But, you know, you do have something with this guy. He's a good wrestler. He shows it, you know. This guy is capable of, you know, wrestling like a normal wrestler. He doesn't feel the need to suicide dive all over the place like a freaking goofball. So that's good. But for some reason, you know, they just have this guy in a position where he's just talking, and, you know, he's not good at talking. He's boring, and they present him in a way where he's just so drab, and, like, it also looks like Otis doesn't need to be with this guy. So basically it's Chad challenging them to a match, and, you know, he's going to leave Otis in the back if one of the Street Profits stays behind as well. So it looks like it's going to be Montez Ford, and Dawkins will stay behind. Then we get Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. Jey informs Reigns that if he wants to speak to Jimmy has said that he's got to go into his locker room. And Roman's reaction was good here. You see more of the facial expressions and him getting pissed off. It's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to see it. But they did seem like they gave Reigns a little bit of room to stretch his legs here with the character. And it's entertaining. I will say this. Even though there's not a lot happening in a scene, and that's not necessarily a good thing, I do enjoy seeing Reigns in his element. And to see the guy act out this character, I like seeing him act with his face and everything, because he is very good. I have said this, and I don't want it to be misconstrued, and never it was. I was saying for weeks and months on end that, you know, Reigns is good. He's been given a character that has promise, but they have not given the character room to stretch its legs enough. And we see glimmers of brilliance. It's just, it could be so much more. Like the fact that we're limited to 2 Usos here, when we have a gigantic family. We saw the Yokozuna documentary. We've got Samoans, like that they're just fucking bursting out of a house. Like, we've got like 80 of these guys in one family. It's so easy to get Rikishi or one of these other guys to appear. We've got tons and tons of Samoans. And they choose to use like none of these guys. And so we're basically relegated to just having two Usos and Paul Heyman and his doofy self being there, which makes no sense that they would keep him around. Anyway, we've got Liv Morgan defeating Carmella because Carmella, she beat Liv last week, so now Liv's got to beat her this week. Now, where are they going with this, quite honestly, may I ask? Liv Morgan is a very attractive girl. I've said this on a number of occasions. But, I watch her in the ring and all I see is just a girl just kind of just going from spot to spot, bumping around the ring. But, there's no presence at all. You see her and you know that you're not watching somebody particularly good or, someone like that's well trained and seems what they're doing. It's quite honest. Like you see Carmella, she's a much better wrestler. You see like there's a much better flow when she's in the ring. Like she kind of seems what she's doing. I'm not a wrestler and everything, but you see that with Liv. You see, like, I see it's like she just kind of seems like a fan that found their way into the ring and is attempting to wrestle. And that's what I'm getting from it all the time with her. So, they had the right idea, with her in the bathtub and everything and use her for her good looks, but we can't do that anymore. We gotta respect women, so we can't do that. Even though we've got, Lashley with the girls and, we've got Eva Marie coming in, and obviously that's a lot having to do with her appearance, but, the mixed messages, and then you got Carmella proclaiming that she's the most beautiful girl in WWE. I thought we weren't supposed to objectify women. We're not supposed to look at them. Oh. We're just supposed to be mindless simp fans and be like, oh, wow, excellent wrestling there, Liv Morgan. Hey, can I send you $100 on the Cash App? Whoa, come on. What are we doing here? What is the message? This is clearly never going to get over. I don't even get it. Even Triple H is saying we're not going to have another women's Evolution pay-per-view, which is a good idea, because why would you repeat the same mistake twice? They've repeated many mistakes numerous times, of course, in this company, but you're not going to have, another, this would be like if they had another ECW December to Dismember. You could see why they killed off that idea, because nobody was, bought that pay-per-view. It was like the lowest bought show of all time. And they're doing the same thing with Evolution, and that was just a network pay-per-view. And Triple H said no. It was also a weird mixed message where he said which I was kind of happy to see. He said, what would they think if we had an all-men show? Well, we used to have a lot of all-men shows, Trips. So I don't get this. He's kind of saying that, we're not just going to have, an all-women's thing because, he says that wouldn't be as inclusive. So Triple H is, walking this weird, don't want a virtue signal, but kind of do, might delete later kind of attitude. What is he even trying to say? It's like he doesn't want to be perceived as an SJW, but he kind of knows that he is, and he's scared that he might offend the SJW NXT fans, and kind of doesn't want to know where he wants to go with it. And like, just, oh man, Triple H is a huge, massive disappointment. I asked it on Facebook, when did this guy become such an indie mark? This is a guy that brought in Sheamus, that, you know, he used to politic for the bigger wrestlers, you know, the guys that actually looked like stars, helping people out like Batista and Orton. And now all of a sudden, it's about Johnny Gargano. I mean, good God. I mean, you know, then once in a while there's a glimmer of hope. You know, Karrion Kross is the champion there, so, you know, there's that. But then he just brings in these random schmucks from the indies and makes like they're gods. But then he shows promise with things like this, but it's not quite the announcement that you want to hear from him, because he's kind of sort of saying he's just doing it because, it would be wrong to have, an all-male pay-per-view, so you don't do an all-women's pay-per-view, even though you already did it. So you're saying you're second-guessing it? How about the reason that it was the lowest watched show on the network? How about you just say that there? Huh? How about that? Maybe that would be the best explanation for that one, Triple H. Not, oh, well, we don't want to do this because the other thing, and I put my foot inside my mouth, and I did the other. Come on. Just be honest. I am so sick of the spin. This is like the AEW demographics thing. Well, it's because of this and that and football, and I left the stove on, so I had to run back to the house and rewrite the whole episode of Dynamite. Like, huh? Just enough already. It's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sick and tired of the excuses. It's garbage. It's trash. Just say it already and move on. Obviously, they ain't going to say that, but that's what it is. Anyway, up next was probably the most annoying dumbness segment I've ever seen. So, we've got an MMA fighter running away from a doll on Raw, smashing a mirror, goofy yell to end the show. Ah! So we go from screaming at the top of our lungs to laughing at the top of our lungs as the clown squad is out here. And I swear to God, it is almost as if they do watch these reviews. And I don't get a lot of views on here. I know that. So I'm not trying to stroke my ego. But I complained about Bayley's laugh. And they multiply that laugh by 100. And then you got Seth Rollins, Iowa's own. Hey guys, he's out there too. And they're on Ding Dong Hello. So, we've got two wrestlers here. One from the female persuasion, one from the male. And they both have a problem. They like to laugh a lot, sometimes uncontrollably, where I've said that these people, they laugh uncontrollably. And what is the name of that thing? I am sick and tired of always saying this and not knowing what it is. It's PBA. That's the name of it. It's called pseudo bulbar effect. Yeah. So you could go and look that up for yourselves. And that's what it is. It's uncontrollable laughter. They sell medication for it. And is this their characters now? Because that's what I'm getting from it. I would assume it'd have to be. So, we've got the laughing. We see the replay. Bayley starts ha 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 ha, and then Seth ha 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 ha. So he's laughing. She's laughing. I'm face palming, and then Seth does this stupid thing with his foot, starts doing this, yeah, I'm wearing Deadpool socks there, a few dog hairs on the bottom for you. You probably didn't think you're gonna get a big boot from me little 3D action in this video, but he starts kicking it. His foot starts spasming like a moron, like a complete goof, like a damn clown. We've all been transported to the big top all of a sudden. Fucking laughing like a bunch of lunatics. I mean, like, what am I watching here? Holy cannoli, holy shit, oh shit. What the hell is this supposed to be? How do you go from the Roman Jay and Jimmy stuff where guys are trying to act and they're trying to create a story and develop characters, and then I just have two complete numbskulls here. Bayley dressing like she's got issues, the glasses, the outfit, Seth with his goofy ass suit. All of a sudden, someone rings the bell. Oh well, that's interesting. We're in a fucking wrestling ring, and there is a doorbell going off. And Seth and Bayley act like they're inside a house. Like we're really in a house right now when there's only a door in the ring. And somehow, some way, there's idiots on YouTube saying, "Oh, that was funny. Oh, wow, that's funny stuff." Yeah, just totally brilliant. First, we see two absolute clowns laughing uncontrollably over some stupid ass skit that was totally retarded and amplified the worst quality of a terrible character on this show. We've also got another dumbass that, you know, this guy has never been over, but he believes that he is because he's a great wrestler, and now he's got fancy suits to prove it. Absolutely awful. And who's at the door? So Seth says, "I'll answer the door." And honestly, he goes over to the door like he's in a house. Like the Uber driver, like the Uber Eats guy just showed up at the door and he's answering the door like that. He even says that. Did you order food or something like that? Like, you know, they try to play this off all naturally. Like, they try to do this, like, cutesy thing. Like, oh, yeah, like, come on. This is stupid, and you know that it is. And the fact that it made it to TV. So, he opens the door, and the camera hasn't fixed in on who he's looking at. And we all know who it is. It's Cesaro. Hey, it's Cesaro. Big surprise there. Didn't expect that. There's only one problem with this. So, we're in the Thunderdome, right? Where, like, no one else is around. We set up this whole thing right here, right? We set up a door with nothing around it, nothing concealing the door. You could go over on the other side of the door and look at it. You can see the door. Yep. So Bayley is making her way down the entrance ramp, and you've got clear sight of the door. Seth's got, could obviously see the door right there as well. And somehow no one noticed that Cesaro was behind the door, even if he was crouched down, unless the guy has the invisibility cloak from Harry Potter. I don't think it's possible. What a goofy fucking segment. I mean, like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, I would not even be able to make this up. It was so terrible. And then he beats up Seth Rollins. And like, okay, we got the beat down. Okay, good. So that, Bayley is yelling at Cesaro. Cesaro just leaves, whatever. We think this segment's over, right? We can get to the next segment, guys, right? No, we can't. Because I'm on my own. So we have the other goofball, the other clown coming out, flipping a ponytail, dancing around. Is it possible? You know, even when she's in like a bad mood, she's in a good mood here, but even when she's in a bad mood, she's even like, you know, flipping her hair around, dancing. It's like, is it possible for her not to dance? I mean, when Rikishi was serious, even he didn't dance. I mean, come on. So she comes out, doesn't say any actual words, unless you count ha ha he he as words. So she goes, and all these fake laughs, and she keeps laughing. And oh, it's supposed to be payback for last week. My ears are shattered, and so is my soul. I mean, was this supposed to be funny? Was it supposed to be entertaining? Was it supposed to be good? Oh, God, I hope not. I mean, holy shit, that had to be one of the worst all-time segments I think I've ever seen in my life. I don't think I'm ever going to get that stupid-ass foot twitch out of my head. I don't think that will ever leave my brain anytime soon. And three absolute goofs laughing. A man hiding behind a door that everyone with any intelligence, or just, you don't even have to have intelligence, just have a sense of vision that these two possess. And you can't see that? It's a fake wrestling show. Yeah, I get it. But we're talking about it, so I might as well point out how retarded it is. Why does no one watch the show anymore? Oh, they're watching it on the internet. You're an idiot. Anyway, so, Rey Mysterio cuts a promo. And dear Lord, this was a good promo from Rey. It seemed impassioned as he talked about what Roman did to his son. And we're actually getting some decent promos here, but there's only one problem. We just spent an inordinate amount of time on a jackassery segment full of goofballery and dumbassery. So, you know, the tone is kind of marred a bit. But Ray did a good job, and he's not really known for his promos. But really, you know, you look back on the network, the guy is underrated. They used to give him a hard time about his promos, but Ray's always been decent. You know, he's like Jeff Hardy. He's good enough, serviceable promos, but this was a bit more impassioned. It seemed like they let him go a little bit more, and it showed. You know, I thought it was pretty decent. Montez Ford defeated Chad Gable by disqualification when Otis ran in. Otis shaved his beard. I think Otis looked pretty good here. I don't see the need for I don't see the need to have Chad Gable there. I just don't see it. And you know, in this at the end, you know, when he's beating up on Montez, you have Dawkins run in. And all he does is, like, cover up Otis, and Otis stops. Like, okay, but you hate Dawkins, too, so why is he not beating him up? We don't want to prolong the beatdown longer than it has to be. But I just thought this looked really weird and awkward. Like, he rolls in, and he's just going to instantly stop. I don't know. I just one of these things where you're just looking at it like they would never do something like that back in the day. But I do like Otis. I mean, this is a guy, like I said, you know, he's a power lifter. To a lot of untrained eyes, people are just going to say he's a fat guy. But if you've seen this guy on Instagram and the amount of weight that he puts up, this is a powerhouse right here. And that's what they needed to do, is make him look a little less goofy. And it seems like it's working. Now, do I think he's going to go anyplace? No, I don't actually. I think this is kind of where he's going to just be. Because, you know, we've seen too much of like, oh, you know, hey, he can stand toe-to-toe with the Street Profits. No, he should be destroying those goofballs. Shouldn't have a bunch of goofs, you know, being able to evenly match Otis, who's supposed to be the monster. Anyway, we've got King Corbin, and they're talking about the King of the Ring, and it's like, that was 2 years ago. and he's still wearing the crown. Like, I get it. Like, Booker T did it. But that gimmick was somewhat over. I didn't really like King Booker that much because I thought it was a little dragged out when it was going on SmackDown. But anyway, it's more of this goofballery with the victory roll, which we saw that move last week. And here we see it again. And, it looks like, Corbin's not going to get the crown this week, but he grabs the crown and Boogs interferes and, okay. And, then Nakamurphy gets it back and Nakamurphy makes more weird faces and, I don't know how people are entertained by that guy, but, where's this going? I've never seen... this is just the most pathetic feud I've ever seen where it's just about the dumbest thing. It's about a fucking crown that's ugly as shit that no one would even want. I don't know. It's just to me I see a lot of promise in Corbin, and you could just tell they don't respect this guy at all. For years and years now, ever since that football tweet, the concussion thing, where they got mad at him and they had Cena come out there and call him a dumpster fire and they had him lose his money in the bank. It's all been downhill from that point. And you kind of see there was a little bit of a ray of hope with the feud with Roman Reigns, but then, look where he is now. Backstage, Corbin is complaining to Pierce, who has his mouth wide open. He's laughing. Probably the goofiest looking dumbass I've ever seen. Sonya Deville's laughing her ass off too. She's got a sleeveless suit on. She looked moronic in it. This was really who is the worst dressed person on this show? Let me know in the comments. Seth, Bayley, or Sonya Deville. All people that shop at Goofballs Anonymous. I mean, Goofballs are us with these ridiculous looking outfits that no one in their right mind, I get the mentality. We're wrestlers, so we're gonna play up the look, and try to dress larger than life, but you're just coming off looking stupid as hell. This is not getting anyone over. The people are laughing at you. They're laughing at these people. No one is going to look at this aside from the most desperate of the smarks and be like, these people look like stars. They look like morons. They look like clowns. So seriously, Sonya Deville with the tie and the sleeveless suit, as an authority figure, you think back to Eric Bischoff, and what that guy would look like as the GM, and then you think Sonya Deville. Holy, two different ends of the spectrum, I get it, but man, holy cannoli. It just looks stupid. Anyway, we'll move on to Reigns, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso backstage, and Jey can't take the fighting anymore. There was some, of course, you had some of the good chemistry here, and, Jey kind of leaves. It just, the thing is, it feels very unfulfilling. It doesn't feel like a lot was accomplished here. It's they're acting this out pretty well, I have to say, and it is interesting to see where it's going, but there's not enough oomph behind it, is what I'm saying. This is why no one's really interested or tuning into SmackDown, because, okay, Jey can't pick between who he wants to side with, Jimmy or Roman. And, he doesn't want to be Roman's lackey, but he also doesn't want to go back to being the twin brother tag team again. Or maybe he does. And I don't know. I feel like these reasons are not good enough. They're just too wrestling, and they should be a little bit more real world. They don't feel like these should be really hard decisions. I guess it's good enough by today's standards, but see, that's the problem. Today's standards make anything that resembles a story good. That's why I'm trying to be reserved here and not say this is amazing. You know, I'll leave that to people like JD, you know, to exaggerate stuff like this just to make a few people happy. But I'd rather just be honest, you know, and respect my subscribers and fans, because I'd be lying to myself, and there's no point in doing that. Anyway, we finish up with Ray in the ring. He says, you know, to Roman, they're going to have a Hell in a Cell match. Roman comes out. Rey Mysterio gets a kendo stick, and Pat McAfee asks, where'd the kendo stick come from? Good question. I don't know where. He must have pulled it straight out of his ass, because I didn't see where that came. Like, where was he hiding it? Honestly, like, I don't know. I guess it was just off camera. But, like, even the announcers didn't see it. Where did it come from? Oh, wow. Just magically appeared. Wow, there's so much magic in the Thunderdome, right? Dolls coming to life, zombies, just so many unexplainable things. It's just, like, totally magic. Anyway, you know, we got Ray and Roman brawling, some kendo stick shots. Roman manages to get it away from him. Then Dominic comes out, hits him with the kendo stick when he looks like he's about to hit a spear on Ray. But then Roman grabs him, power bombs him off the top rope, and obviously he landed on a crash pad. They edited that segment. It was off camera. Obviously, even if they were airing it live and it wasn't pre-taped, whatever the case may be, you'll never know, of course, because they could show anything. Even for the fans being streamed into they wouldn't know. So anyway, you know, that's okay, but like, we obviously know he's not gonna powerbomb him off out of the ring like that. You know, they're better off doing something like that, like backstage, you know, like in a parking lot where it'd be more believable. But you know, I mean, it's not bad or anything like that, but it's kind of the same deal as, you know, when you had Apollo Crews throwing the steel steps at Big E. Like, we all know he's not doing that, and it's even more obvious because we knew if there was a crowd there, they wouldn't even do anything remotely like that. But you know, it was decent enough, I suppose. You know, it was better than last week. That's what I will say. It was definitely better than last week. Better than Raw overall. Not only shorter, but just better. And, you know, decent promos. We had a good Ray promo. We had some good, you know, decent exchanges between Roman, Jay, and Jimmy. Nothing mind-blowing. None of these matches were mind-blowing either. From a match perspective, I mean, you know, you didn't really get anything here. But like I said, I'd rather have some decent promos, quite frankly. I've had enough of, like, you know, 20-minute matches, 2 of the same tag matches on the same show. So, you know, decent enough. You know, we'll say it was subpar, because that's better than it being terrible. Still not a great show. Definitely not worth your time. Don't watch it if you didn't see it. Don't really go back and watch anything. Nothing is worth seeing on this show. But if you did watch it, you didn't really feel that tortured, except for the Bayley and Seth Rollins segment. That was murder right there. That there should be criminal charges pressed against the creative team and for all the participants for involving themselves in that jackassery, clownish bullshit, goofballery. That's all I could say. That was Barnum and Bailey. That was the big top. That was the circus of all circuses. That sucked. It was bad. It was terrible. It was horrible. And I didn't like it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys. I will see you next time.